How's it going? I know. Crazy hectic, right? Well, sit back and relax and welcome to the Mom and Pop Spot. Help me welcome my dad and the host of the show, St. Patrick.
Welcome to all my parents, guardians, subscribers, and supporters. We have a great, and important episode for you today. Today's guest, I'm honored and blessed because we have a husband, father, poet, author, community uncle, motivator, after school program director, and as my buddy Elijah would say, super humanitarian. I hope I didn't leave anything out. But I'm gonna give a round of applause for you. There we go.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man. I really appreciate that.
Yes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Love it,
Good.
man.
Good. And he is alongside his better half, who's a mother, wife, chief folding officer at Sister Seeking Phoenix. I can't remember the Phoenix, and t-shirt saleswoman at Ally Project Phoenix as well. And that's PHX Phoenix. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. So excited to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So I just want to thank you both for being on this show. And before we get into the questions, I wanted to plug a few things that you both have going on. Can you kind of explain what Fight for Life is?
Yeah, so I'm one of the 5 mentors for a program called Fight for Life. It's a 12-week program.
Uh-huh.
It's a manhood training program for boys aged 8 to 17.
Okay.
And during these 12 weeks, they learn so many different things that they don't learn in school.
Yeah.
So they're going to learn life skill training. They're going to learn about finances.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to learn some STEM. They're going to learn about entrepreneurship. And it's in South Phoenix, and it's predominantly Black, so they learn a lot about Black empowerment, Black history.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those things that I wish I had when I was younger. So
Yes,
they're just pretty much around the community uncles every Saturday from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock, learning all kinds of things they're not going to get to learn in school. Some of the bonus activities we go camping every year in Flagstaff.
Nice.
We have hike trips, and aside from classroom work. And it's just one of those situations where we're just trying to plant seeds in these young men every Saturday as much as we can.
Yeah, and I appreciate you doing that because, not to make it race based, but I mean, it's nice when there is more history than what's in textbook, and
Right.
textbook is very biased, I'll say. Again, not to make it race based, but I like the fact that we're giving another avenue and another viewpoint than just what's written in the books. It's like you're speaking on it, firsthand and stuff like that. So I
Right.
appreciate that,
especially for Black history, because in
Yes.
school, of course, we're going to learn about slavery,
right.
and civil rights. It's like they're teaching you that you used to be a slave and you have to fight for your rights.
But I
But
think
we
a lot
also
of
want to teach them there's also great things in our history. We're more than just slavery and civil rights. We had great things like
Right.
Black Wall Street, where we had our own businesses or whatnot. So we teach them more about Black history than they're going to get from a regular school.
And that's what I was gonna literally just mention on, because of the fact that you're doing that, because textbook, like you said, it's focused on the negative,
The
in my
struggle.
own opinion. You know what I
The
mean?
struggle, yes.
C15 had mentioned that Fight for Life is a safe space to talk about what it's like to grow up as a Black man in America. What would you say it's like for a Black father growing up in America?
It's it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to put in words
Yes, sir.
because it's always changing, it's always evolving. Because how I'm growing up as a Black man in America,
Uh-huh.
there's similarities to how my dad was, but there's so much that's changed since then.
Okay.
The world has evolved, so there's so much new to my dad that he can't really tell me because he wasn't in the same type of environment that I was. I mean, we all have the same type of struggle when it
Yes,
comes
sir.
to injustice. That's always been there, but there's so many different new elements in this world that kind of goes at the Black man. And there's some things we're handling well. There's some things we need to do better at, but
Mhm.
being a Black man in America and the journey of it is really tough to put in words. And I'm a poet, and sometimes I had the hard words to put into words what it's like being a Black man in America and the experience. It's just one of those things where I can just kind of show you with action and just show you that I'm doing my best at the
Right.
position I have in this life, which is being a Black man.
Yeah.
But it's there's ups and downs. But at the end of the day,
Uh-huh.
it's something that's powerful. And I wouldn't rather be anything else.
Yes, sir.
I could say that.
Yeah. And as a treat, we're getting some of his spoken words at the end of the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that one as well. So, yes.
Do it.
And what is Sister Seeking?
So, Sister Seeking PHX, in the heart of the pandemic, when everyone was locked in the house,
Uh-huh.
I wanted to create a way and a safe space for African American women in the city to come together, promote their businesses, support each other, ask questions to each other.
Right.
So, we started off with doing a Monday night live where I was able to connect with all of these thousands of women in the city.
Right.
And from there, we started our sister organization, Ally Project PHX.
Nice.
We noticed that the homeless people in our community during the pandemic were not able to get the essential supplies that they needed. So we wanted to be able to provide grocery gift cards, not have a food pantry because food
Uh-huh.
can expire. So
Right.
we went ahead and did the gift cards as well as feminine hygiene products,
I love that.
toothpaste, just the basic essentials. No questions asked,
Yeah.
and they could just go into our food pantry and get the things that they needed during the pandemic. So
Yeah.
that is how we started. We started from a place of need, and
Uh-huh.
from there, it's grown, and we are just excited to see how it's going to continue to evolve.
Yeah. I love the fact that, and I mentioned it on an episode that we were talking about homelessness. You mentioned feminine products.
Mhm.
When we're thinking about homeless women, we're not thinking about feminine products, and they don't realize the struggle that they're having. They don't have those, necessities. So I love that you touched up on it. How supportive has it been?
I mean, you would not believe it. So the reason I consider myself a t-shirt saleswoman
Uh-huh.
is when we started this from the grounds up, we didn't have any startup funds or anything like that. And I'm like, how are we going to get these thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to supply these materials? And so I created a t-shirt
Uh-huh.
and I sold the t-shirt for $15 and we
Yeah.
were able to use the t-shirt proceeds to get our food pantry funded.
Wow.
So it's just been a tremendous amount of support that we've received, and the crazy thing is, we didn't sell our T-shirts just to African American people. We opened it, and our biggest supporters were actually the Caucasian
Yeah.
population here. They were like, "We want to get on board. We want to support and help your community as well." So they could purchase a T-shirt, and we would
Uh-huh.
give it to a random African American woman in the city
Yeah.
that they never laid eyes on, and use those funds to get our food pantry started. So
Yeah.
crazy idea, nothing that I thought would ever work. But it was just crazy enough that people just really loved it and it turned into something.
Yeah.
And as of this date, we've sold more than 2,000 shirts.
Yeah. That's incredible. And what is Useful Hands?
Useful Hands PHX, man. That is the program I created during COVID.
Uh-huh.
As I said once before, I was trying to just think of another way to get involved in the community.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I've been with Fight for Life since 2017. And everybody that knows me, I'm a community uncle, but I'm like the community uncle that likes to fix things, build things. I'm that guy. I like to use my hands.
Yeah.
We teach them great things in our program, financial literacy and STEM
Right.
and whatnot. But I'm the uncle that wants to teach you how to fish,
Yeah.
do some woodwork, change some flat tires. So I wanted to kind of concentrate only on life skill training, only on using your hands.
Yeah.
So it was a idea I came up with my friends. I wanted to teach them 4 skills over 2 days,
Yes, sir.
Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, I would teach them the essential auto care,
Mhm.
changing flat tires, checking the oil, what makes up all the components that make up the vehicle, the
Mhm.
fluids, how to charge a dead battery. And then on the same day, they learn how to use a charcoal grill.
Wow.
From ground up, they prep their own food,
Yeah.
light up the grill because it can be intimidating. There's a lot of men who never got around to learning how to use a charcoal grill
Right.
for one reason or another, but it can be intimidating because you're working with real fire.
Yeah.
So I kind of like just make them get over that intimidation and teach them how to control the fire. And it builds up the confidence.
Yes, sir.
So the second day we do woodwork. They can make planter boxes, honeycomb shells, and then after that we go fishing. They learn how to fish.
Nice.
And they
And
don't teach that in schools.
They
Like,
don't.
no.
there's
Yeah,
no
they
home
don't.
ec, there's no driver's ed in most schools nowadays. So, we underestimated like how needed something
Yeah.
like Useful Hands would be in the community. So,
Yeah.
great idea.
Very impressive and very important. I look up because of the fact that like I'm not very good at like doing anything automotive. I don't even know how to fish. So when I'm looking at my kids, I'm like, man, I'm struggling. Like I'm already like in the back seat. I'm already like trying to figure out like, okay, how do I get in the driver's seat? How am I teaching them? Because I don't know those necessities. So
Well, I
those,
mean, as a bonus, I'm glad you said that because yes, it's concentrated for young men,
yeah,
but I am that guy. I'm a community uncle, but I'm brother Anthony. I'm a
yeah,
community brother as well. So if
yes,
there's any
sir,
men that feel like that's something I want to teach my son, but I don't know,
yeah,
hit me up.
yeah,
I've taken men on. a man wants to teach his son how to fish, and he let me know,
Yeah.
and he wants to take my program. I say, I can teach you how to fish, and you can
Yeah.
teach him this information. There's a brother who don't know how to use a charcoal grill. Come in my backyard, let's chop it up and put some on the grill. I can show you. I'm all about that. You know what I mean? So I'm all about showing my brothers as well, not just my young men in the community, but my brothers as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you. And the last one, you wrote a book titled "I Can't Wait to Be a Man." What would you say is special about this book?
the special thing about this book is because it promotes manhood.
Okay.
It gets young boys excited
Yeah.
about the journey and the process of when they becoming a man. This is something they should be honored
Yeah.
and proud to be in a position to become a man. Being a man is I really have a lot of pride in being a man. There's so
Yeah.
much that comes with that term, the
Yes, sir.
title, and if a young boy can feel like that's a powerful thing, just imagine in his head that
Yeah.
one day he's going to be this powerful man. That whole journey
Yeah.
will be quite a journey for him becoming a man, because he's going to be learning as much as he can.
Yeah.
He's going to be practicing as much as he can,
Right.
because he knows that the more he does that, he's going to be more of a powerful man.
Yeah.
So I think that the best thing about this book that it promotes manhood. It makes a boy want to be a man. It gives him that desire to be
That
a man.
motivation.
Right.
Yeah.
Not to run from this title. This is something that you should embrace
Yeah.
and be the best you can be at it. So I want young boys to feel like, I can't wait to be a man, because when I
Yeah.
am, I'm going to do some powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why it's called I Can't Wait to Be a Man.
Yeah. The back of the book, there's 3 different characters on there. Is that you at 3 different stages of life?
No, the back of the book. So the book is actually narrated by a
Yeah.
young boy.
Yeah.
And the young boy is actually telling you all the lessons he learned from his dad and his uncle. So the
Okay.
2 men on the book, one of them is his father,
Yeah.
and one of it is his uncle. Because keep it honest, a lot of young men I work with, a lot of them don't have fathers.
Yeah.
So I wanted to throw an uncle figure in there as well. Like, I'm a
Okay.
community uncle.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, just in case the little boy relates to the young boy in the book.
Yes, sir.
He's telling you, "Hey, my uncle taught me this. My uncle taught me that.
Yeah.
My dad taught me this." So just in case he doesn't have a father, yeah, well, I got an uncle too. He teaches me some things. So I just want to show that this young boy is learning from more than just his father. He's learning from his uncle as well.
Yeah. And that's the community. That's
Right.
important, because now they're able to relate, because say you don't have a father and it's like, I don't know if I can relate. And it's like, well,
Right.
you still got the plan B and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And as a wife and mother, I love it because useful young men like this become useful husbands. One
Right.
day. We have 2 daughters.
Uh-huh.
So I love that my husband has helped cultivate and coach the next generation of young men, because these boys are going to grow up and they're going to know how to change their wife's tire. They're going to know
Yeah.
how to take care of that oil and those things that, make things a little bit easier for their wives one day. So that's the hope. That the young men can also grow up and have those basic skills, but will also take pride in being husbands and fathers.
Right.
And as far as a book as well, because I know I'm known to teach kids how to use their hands.
Yeah.
But this book in particular kind of goes beyond just, because when we think of man, we think of fixing things or whatnot. But,
Yeah.
we all know it's deeper things. So I like to promote, keeping the composure is a strength of a man.
Right.
A man that can keep his composure.
Mhm.
A man that practices chivalry. A man that speaks up for himself when he has questions. A man that handles his responsibilities. All those are the main lessons in the book. So the book actually doesn't even talk about life skills, really. It doesn't even talk about fixing things. The book is only worried about, things that make him a man on the inside, and,
Yeah.
and how characteristics of a man. So that's another thing I appreciate about the book, is that it's nothing that has to do with fixing and building things and being strong. It's just keeping the composure when you're mad, taking
Right.
care of your mother and your sister, things like that.
Yeah. And schools, I mean, we're always we're having our kids read. It's a good book to have in the schools. I think I was
Oh, yeah.
mentioning it to you last week. It's like they need to have more books versus the Harry Potters, and no knock against the Harry Potters and all those fictional books, nonfiction, fiction. Sorry, I just spaced out. Yeah, fiction. Versus having those books. I mean, now they have something that's bringing more real life
Development.
Yes.
I would call it. I would definitely put it in a developmental category.
Yeah.
It's something that can actually use and implement in their everyday lifestyle.
Right. When you think of parenthood, what is your guys' biggest joys?
Biggest joys.
Yes.
Biggest joy of parenthood. It is literally like seeing your heartbeat outside of your chest.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at this little version of you, and it's terrifying because you're
Right.
responsible for protecting them and guiding them. But how amazing is it? It's literally like seeing a smaller version of yourself. And
Yeah.
for me, the greatest joy is being able to fix and resolve some of the things that I didn't necessarily get from my parents.
Yeah.
Like realizing my parents did the best they could with what they had.
Right.
And so I'm going to take that and add on to that with the tools that I have available to hopefully make their lives even better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just dope to watch them grow and to become their own little person.
Yeah.
Our kids have so much personality.
Even at our saddest or darkest or stressful moments, I feel like there's still beautiful, bittersweet moments because we can still cherish those moments. Like when they're having a rough day, when they're stressed out or anything else, those are good moments to connect with them. And then you can see how it was when you were at that age, and then it kind of builds that experience to say, okay, this is what happened to me at this time. This is how I can make you progress, better.
Exactly.
Right.
Your children will hold up a mirror to you and show you the real you.
Yeah.
And so some of those bad habits that you have before your child comes along,
Right.
they will hold that mirror right up to your face. And so I can say, since becoming a mother, things that I never even thought were an issue, now it's like, this is not a habit that I would want my child to pick up. I want my child to be cool in temperament, so I got to be cool in temperament.
Yeah, because they're sponges.
They soak up everything. And
Everything.
so I recognize that early on, thankfully. So you get the opportunity to correct those character flaws you might have that you might not even be aware of when you see your kid doing that thing that is not, the best. So I think that's, for me, the greatest joy.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm like, that's my wife, and I'm like, no, that's actually me. Like,
Yeah. That's that mirror right there.
Yeah, Brother Anthony, how important is the mother role to the kids?
Man, that's one of those things where it's hard to put in words. Mother, that's she's the portal. I mean, first of all, for the life to even get here. You know what I mean? So it essentially starts with the mother. But as much as powerful as I am as a man,
Yes, sir.
mighty, I can be protective and this and that. There's certain things naturally that I just don't have, or I don't have as much as I have for a woman.
Yeah.
I'm a nurturing guy. I like to cuddle and kiss all over my babies, whatnot. But when it really goes down and my kids really need that real nurturing, they're gonna go to mom because they just have a natural energy without even trying.
100%.
Women have something in them without even trying.
Yeah.
And something I have to really try to do. I really have to put in extra effort to be a nurturing person because naturally, as a man, my head is somewhere else. But the mother has a natural energy inside of them that you just can't make up. It's important to have. For a son and a daughter.
Yeah,
they both need it.
Yeah. I got 3 boys, so even the dog is a boy. But I love it. I say it all the time because of the fact that she really is the backbone. I tell her all the time, like, and hopefully she knows every single time I'm telling her, like, I can't do what you're doing. Being the fact that my boys like love you and they're able to respect you, and what you're able to do at home is, there's no words that can be put into how important you are to this family.
And it doesn't stop. I'm 35.
Yeah.
And my mom that's my mom. I mean? Like, I'm a big burly man now, but that's my mama, man. Like, it's just one of those feelings that it doesn't matter how old you are, they just have this natural energy, the connection just feels home.
Yeah.
And I know my kids are always gonna feel that way about their mom. They love dad. Dad's cool and all that, but the moms just have something that we just can't mess with.
But can I say the other piece of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, the mom piece is very important, but the father piece.
Wait, because that was the next question I was going to ask. Yeah. So, how important is a father to the kids? Not this gentleman, because this gentleman's on another spectrum.
Another level, right?
Yes.
But I think that the father is equally, if not even more important. Like, in order for me to function and do the things that I need to do as a mother, I don't have to do both roles.
Right.
So having my husband here, knowing that we are safe. Okay, if anything goes down, my husband is going to protect us. He's going to provide us.
Right.
He's a problem solver. He's a great leader. Knowing that, a girl, her first love is typically her father.
Right.
I would love for my girls to come home and introduce us to a young man like this.
Yeah.
So they are seeing their mother be loved correctly. And I have the peace and the ability to kind of be in my feminine and focus on those nurturing things, because he's handling the things that need to be handled on the outside of the home. So, and also the discipline, right? I don't have to be the bad cop. My husband is like, I am perfectly fine being the bad cop. So they know I'm the assistant principal.
Yeah.
You're going to get the warning from me, but if we got to go to the principal,
that's it.
It's going to be a whole different thing. So I love the fact that our kids get to see an escalation.
Yeah.
There's 2 different levels to this, and you probably want to resolve it with mom, because when we get to daddy,
then
it's going to be some consequences. So I think they're both equally important in keeping that balance our kids really need both
Yeah.
present.
Yeah. I agree. When I talk to my parents, I ask them what fears they have. Most will say that they don't really have them, or that they'll name some simple fears. As a Hispanic, and the line goes past, as a black mother, what fears do you have?
My greatest fears for my daughters, and this is being completely honest, and all the things that are going on in the media,
Uh-huh.
it is very important that I am my daughter's role model.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to name drop anybody,
Yeah.
but we see some of these artists out here, everything is overly sexualized,
It's
and
disgusting.
it's a lot,
Yeah.
and our young girls are growing up, and I really believe being steered to value the wrong things.
Yeah.
So we're talking about your sexuality, your beauty, your looks, like what you look like on the outside, but we're not really pushing to them the importance of being wives, of being mothers,
Yeah.
of being modest, of being classy. We're not seeing enough of that.
Yeah.
So the whole culture, the stripper culture, that is the biggest fear, and making sure that, I know my kids are going to be exposed to it someday. There's no way for us to keep them from the world,
Right.
but making sure they have enough positive role models so they know that you don't have to go that route.
Yeah.
You don't have to use your sexuality to get ahead.
Right.
You can walk into a room and be fully clothed and get just as much respect and still get the results that you want in this world.
Yeah.
So that would be the biggest thing for me, and making sure that they have the guidance in that area, because it is really rough with the things that these kids are picking up on social
It
media.
is scary.
It is scary, and we can't be with them 24 hours a day. So making sure they have integrity,
Uh-huh.
and making sure that we equip them to make good decisions when they're out on their own.
The thing too is, it's not where we're just having them watch out for themselves. It's these predators that are out there. That's what terrifies me. And being the fact that Arizona is one of the top human trafficking spots, like,
Mhm.
the line just keeps going further and further, and the hole keeps getting darker. And I'm like, I was terrified. I would say that, a bunch of times where I didn't want a daughter. Everybody keeps saying like, "Oh, you want a daughter?" I'm like, no, I was terrified. I was like scared of having a daughter, just because of the fact that where we live at. I know my daughter would have been good, because of the fact that you don't mess with my kids. Like, I'll protect my kids to the end. But just when they're not in my care, I mean, you hear like, a lot of these people that we're having to depend on, teachers, law enforcement, having them take care of our kids, and half the time they're not. They're
It can
leaving
make you
them.
paranoid, man. It
Yes,
really can.
yes, very much. Um, and my nana said, the reason she didn't have her kids learn Spanish was because of the fact that she used to get targeted a lot. Granted, it was, a long time ago. It still happens to today, the racism and stuff like that. She would get disciplined when she would talk Spanish and stuff like that. So she stopped telling my parents, and their siblings, Spanish. Some of my family and friends, they act a certain way because they feel intimidated, based on what society displays today. My wife even mentioned a time where she was told by her mother to not mess with a certain race to avoid any type of confrontation. At any point, do you feel the need to teach your kids to act a certain way to avoid racism?
That's tough. You don't ever want to teach a kid not to, because you just gave the example of your grandma got in trouble for speaking in Spanish,
Yeah.
which is ultimately telling somebody they can't be themselves, or
Right.
where they come from. It's kind
Yeah.
of like taking away your identity.
Right.
And being black, we're familiar with our identities and whatnot being taken away.
Yeah.
We all kind of just start with the last names
Yeah.
and history,
Yes,
and
sir.
a lot of it has been taken away. And that's a form of taking away, telling you not to be yourself or whatnot because of your race, is telling you to strip away your identity.
Yeah.
So we're very careful of, we want them to be, professional, be all this and that, but we're very careful not crossing the line of stripping away your actual identity as a
Yeah.
black woman. That's not. For example, you have women who are told, "Hey, don't go to work with those braids. You better make sure it's straight and this and that." And, my wife could speak on that, but that's a form of telling somebody
I mean,
not to embrace your blackness.
there's a school that cut the little girl's hair
Oh,
Exactly,
because of the fact that she had
exactly.
bleeds. I
That
mean,
that's a form of stripping somebody, or trying to have somebody strip away their own identity, their own blackness,
yeah.
where they come from. That's what that is, and we're very careful with not doing that with our children.
but
Yeah.
this is another thing where it's important for us to show up, because
Uh-huh.
remember, the kids are sponges, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Recently, I made the decision to start wearing my hair natural,
Mhm.
just in its natural state.
Right.
And my daughter made a comment to me when I took my braids out. Usually, it's braided up, or I'm wearing it in a natural style. And she said, "Mom, I don't like your hair how it looks today." And then I realized she never really sees it like this.
Yeah.
How can my child love and embrace my hair when I don't love and embrace my hair?
Right.
So I need to be able to show up in this world in my natural state so that my kids don't grow up with a complex and think to themselves, well, mommy always has wigs, mommy always has sew ins, mommy never shows her hair.
Yeah.
How can I encourage my daughters to show up in this world as their authentic selves
Yeah.
if I'm not doing so?
Wow.
So it's important. Sometimes you got to
Right.
strip off the makeup, you got to strip off the lashes, you got to strip off the nails,
Yeah.
so that your kids don't develop a complex and think that you're trying to hide something. And I
Yeah.
think that that's the strongest thing that we can do in encouraging our Black girls to embrace who they are as young Black women
Yeah.
growing up in the society.
When I dealt with a little bit of the nervousness in school, I went to an all white school. I was the only Hispanic. I think there was like maybe one, maybe two other Hispanics there. I get made fun of all the time. They used to call me a wannabe white kid. And then when they started allowing some of the Hispanics to come in there, I got beat up by all the Hispanics because they were saying I was a wannabe Hispanic. It was a huge, issue or whatever the case is. I ended up getting in a fight with one of the kids and ended up getting suspended. My mom had to come pick me up and everything else. But at that point, I was afraid to act a certain way because I'm like, shoot, where do I fit in? Because the fact that people say I look white, I know I'm Hispanic, and it's like, where do I fall in? So it's just at that time, I was just like kind of growing up being nervous all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, man. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, stress for a kid. That's
Yeah.
a lot to deal with, man.
Yeah. I was in grade school when
Yeah.
I got jumped both times. So it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty crazy. So I hate certain words. And I say it with passion. I hate saying hate because of the fact that it's a strong word and stuff like that. But in this case, I can say I hate it. The B word. We use it so commonly to refer to our women. It's derogatory, but not as disgusting as the N word. You turn on the radio, it's in the songs. Some say it's a term of endearment. It's very uncomfortable when I see my own people, like some of these Hispanics that are saying it. I'm like, why are you saying it? Um, why do rappers glamorize it? And how do we educate our children not to say it when it's everywhere? It's frustrating that I'm correcting people from saying it just to say like it's everywhere. And it's like it's no, we need to do something about it now.
Well, I think the B word specifically, if I'm being honest, a lot of these artists use it because who stopped them?
Yeah,
They're celebrated for doing it.
right.
Your record sales are going up. You call a woman a B word, and then the women are all in the club dancing to it. Somebody's purchasing it.
Yeah.
So they're doing it because they're incentivized to do so. And
Uh-huh.
instead of us being outraged about it and saying, hey, you're not going to refer to me as a B word, we pick it up and just continue to call other women that. I
Yeah.
think actually more women are perpetuating the use of the B word now versus artists. You have artists like J. Cole and Kendrick and people who are more conscious who don't even really use the word to refer to their women, but the women are taking and running with it.
Right.
So I think that that's the biggest issue. The women will have to put their foot down, but like we said, it's glamorized, it's monetized. So most of them are not going to do that now.
And
Yeah.
I think, man, black people, we have such a natural ability to turn ugly into cool. Like we started a long time ago. Slave masters gave us pig intestines to eat. We put hot sauce on it, called them chitlins. Well, we made soul food out of this and that.
Yeah.
We always turn negative stuff into something cool. They call us the N words. We flipped it, made it cool. That's
Yeah.
just how we. But sometimes it hurts us too because it's also a reminder.
The history though.
Yeah, there's so much attached to it,
Yeah.
and I know we have that ability, but sometimes it harms us as well. Our program, that word is definitely banned in our program, and that's one of the first things we tell the boys the first day when we go over all our rules.
Yeah.
That word is not to be used in this program. There will be consequences if it slips out, and we're very strong with that. And we have replacement words. That's why we call each other brother, and that's why
Yeah.
I go by brother Anthony because I like to promote that word instead of the N word.
Yeah.
Hey, brother Anthony. So we kind of focus on replacement words too.
Yeah.
So we don't just tell people not to use that word. We also give them, provide them something else to call each other.
Yeah.
So brothers, that's just my personal replacement word is brother.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where we made it. It was a negative thing that we made it look cool,
Yeah.
and we just took it to a whole nother level where it's just
Yeah.
it's causing more harm because it's a constant reminder.
Yeah.
There's so much attachment to it, and it needs to just be dead, so we don't have to even really have these discussions anymore. We
Right.
need to go ahead and bury it.
But the problem is, once again, this stripper hoe culture.
Yeah.
Pimps used to call their women B words.
Yeah.
So if that's what's being promoted in the media, this whole culture, this show as little as possible, this twerking all over the place, showing
Right.
everything you have. Well, I mean, the B word goes hand in hand with how a lot of women are choosing to conduct themselves.
Because
Yeah.
because we glamorize it.
yeah.
Like
Right.
I said, we have an ability to make things cool and glamorize. We glamorize the most craziest stuff, whether it's drugs and this and that. We just have a knack to make things look cool.
Yeah.
And when we see that rapper calling his woman the B word, but she got a Gucci bag.
Yeah.
I mean, cool. You know, I want the Louis, the Prada. I want, you know, the Bentley. So if that's what I got to deal with to get what I want, that is the danger, because our kids are seeing it. And, you know, that's one of the reasons that nobody's objecting to it. It looks like the women who are referring to themselves like that in society are the ones winning, when we know that that's
And
not really true.
They have a lot of power to change it. And then where's cancel culture? They're so quick to, put all their attention on this. Let's focus on real issues that we can cancel out and start moving in a positive direction.
But that's not lucrative. That's
Right.
not, you know what I mean? If I can make you hate yourself, I
Yeah.
can continue to sell you wigs, weaves, lashes. I can continue to sell you big old chains and
Yeah.
rims on your car. If I can make you discontent with who you are, then I can monetize it.
Yeah.
And so that's a big piece as well. You
And
know,
I get it. Yeah.
And me personally, I like to glamorize the other. I mean, we got all those ugly words and whatnot, because let's face it, the rappers don't think the other words are cool.
Yeah.
So in me and my personal life and with these young men, I like to glamorize, a black man reading is cool.
Yeah.
Taking care of your family man, being a family man is cool. I like to try to make things look cool as possible, the best thing look cool. If these young men see me talking to another man, I'm like, what's up, brother? We talking to each other. And they look at that, they see that, and they look up to us. So if we glamorize the positive, I mean, we can bash the negative and say this and that, and that's wrong, this and that. That's definitely something we got to do. We got to speak up.
Yeah.
But the other part of that is glamorizing and promoting what we want to see as well.
Right.
Some people only focus on bashing what we don't see, the problems, yada yada yada. But you also got to promote and glamorize the other side too,
Agree.
because the negative, they love it because it looks cool.
Yeah.
Imagine if we put that same energy in making the good stuff look cool and promoting that, shedding light on all of that as well, and putting that in your face. If my daughter only sees all this positive, if she sees it all the time, she sees that more than she sees the negative, and that's gonna stick with her more.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So first and foremost, I totally agree with you guys. It does start within the culture as far as the N word and the B word. And the B word has unfortunately escalated to a situation that is pretty much the N word for females. Like you see females calling each other like, hey, what up, B? Like, you my B girl, you know how we da da da. So I fully agree. But my real question is, I heard today from I forget the guy's full name. It's like Charleston something. He's
Charleston White. Charleston.
Yes.
That guy.
Yes. And he I don't agree with it, but what he said made me think about it more. He said that he enjoys being called that, especially from a white person, because back in the day it was viewed different, because if they were trying to be derogatory back in the day when they called us that on a regular basis, they would call us a boy. That would be the derogatory term back then. If they were trying to be mean to us, they'd be like, get out of the way, boy. Know your place, boy. But if you're called the N-word, it's normally someone who's been rebellious, someone who's strong, someone who they're fearful of. So that's how he views the word, and he's thinking that it's a positive thing. Like I said, I don't agree with him, but I just thought that was a interesting take on how to perceive the word, because I definitely don't perceive it that way at all.
Yeah.
If you know Charleston White, I mean, if you know who Charleston White is, he's one of those reachy guys. He's definitely going to reach. And it's just saying that you like being called that by white people. Like,
yeah, that was the part that threw me off too, because they're like, do you let white people call you? He's like, especially white people. I'm like, hold on, like, especially white people though? Like, I kind of understand your justification of it, but you're saying I want specifically white people to call me that.
But he's once again somebody in the media.
He's gonna say those
he monetizes these crazy things that he says, because they can take a little clip of that and people will click in and listen, and he gets paid whether you agree with him or not. So it's still some people just don't need a platform.
Yeah.
Well, he actually goes on record for saying that, I say some crazy stuff because that's what so
yeah.
That's a bit of a reach statement, saying that I enjoy being called that. That's what.
Yeah.
That's definitely. I don't really feel like I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
lot.
no way to
That's way too
retweet that.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
that was a bad move. Charles did a
Man.
bad move.
Yeah. If you can give your daughters 3 things in life, what would it be?
3 things. Are you talking physical things
You
or?
tell me. It could be lessons. It could be physical things.
Well, the first one will be the best of me.
Mhm.
The very absolute best of all I got, all the knowledge I've obtained over my years
Yeah.
so far. That'll be the first thing. Whether it be lessons,
Uh-huh.
or whatnot. The second thing, I'm gonna let you do the first one. I'm gonna do one, you do one, and
No,
we'll go
you do
back and
your
forth.
3.
I gotta do all 3 back to
Yeah.
back. See, no time to think. The first one will be the best of me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do one physical too. Um, I would love to pass down generational wealth.
Yeah.
So just being the best of me as far as in the house. Like
Yeah.
dad gives us all. He goes to work, all that good stuff. Second one is generational wealth. I'm not gonna be here all the way, their whole life. So
Right.
when I'm gone, I want to be able to leave them generational wealth.
Uh-huh.
Leave them in a comfortable position when I'm gone. The third one, I got the best of me, generational wealth. What else? This is a tough one. You got to do 2 at least before I do the
All
last
right.
one. Come on, put some pressure on.
I'm gonna do all 3. We'll come back to you.
Okay, don't steal one of mine. She's probably gonna steal one of mine.
No,
Yeah.
mine would be more lessons in character.
Right.
I would tell my kids that integrity is so important
Uh-huh.
and that there's no right way to do the wrong thing.
Uh-huh.
And you always have to keep that at the forefront of your mind. When you do the wrong thing, you're going to pay on the front end or you're going to pay on the back end, but you will eventually pay.
Yeah.
So it's important to make good decisions. I would also tell them the importance of good character. Having good character can take you places in life. Money can't take you.
Uh-huh.
Good character will have people come back and pull you up and open doors for you.
Yeah.
And also, I would really instill in my kids the importance and the joy of being a wife and a mother.
Uh-huh.
Nowadays, we're bogged down with all of this talk of divorce and, women saying we don't need a man and the men saying, we don't really want to do marriage anymore. It's becoming diluted to the point where I'm afraid when our children grow up, they might not value marriage the same because of what they're hearing so much. So
Right.
I would just tell them that when you die, your headstone is not going to talk about your career. It
Uh-huh.
ain't going to talk about how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter how much money's in your account. That headstone is going to say loving wife, mother, daughter, or
Uh-huh.
whatever you choose to do with your life. But those
Right.
relationships are going to be the most important thing. It's not about how much money you make. It's not about all the degrees, your career, or any of that stuff. Those are
Right.
great. But when you die, it's going to come down to you and your family relationships.
Uh-huh.
So to really value that above anything else and make sure you put the effort and energy into cultivating those relationships.
Okay.
I would say my third one would be on a smaller scale, something physical. I'm an artist,
Uh-huh.
an author, so I would love to leave something my children they can always remember me by. They always have a children's book that's going to
Yeah.
be around forever. When I'm gone, you can still buy it online.
Yeah.
Or they can always go back and look at footage of dad performing somewhere or doing something. Or they can always look up and see my company that will, hopefully will be here when I'm gone.
Right.
Just leaving them things that they can have to remember me by when I'm gone.
Yeah.
So I want to leave them things they can actually see, hold, look at, and watch to remember me by. My legacy.
Yes.
That's something. That's the third thing I would like to leave them. Something that they can actually remember me by.
Yeah. I like it. I like all of them. It's actually pretty good. But before we continue, we're gonna take a small commercial break. Brother Anthony needs to check Dallas Cowboys updates, so we'll be right back after.
Absolutely not. Let's go, Cards. Let's go, Cards.
Habari Entertainment Films present There's Only One Name for News with Damon and Aisha. Habari Live Podcast. Habari Entertainment, a race against time. On a quest for glory. Habari News Weekly, HabariEntertainment.com. Catch us for more. Visit us, HabariEntertainment.com.
And we're back. We just want to give a quick shout out to the Suns. I don't know. They need to start winning more and they need to do some work because a lot of work in that organization. Speaking of amazing work, you do a lot of amazing work with kids in your program. What are some of the struggles that they discuss with you about their life?
Just the things that we as mentors or community uncles that we compete with. We compete with the influencers.
Uh huh.
Yeah, we have them every Saturday, and we do some incredible things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's once a week for 4 hours.
Yeah.
They got to go back out into the real world, in the real neighborhoods, in the schools, on the internet, and there's so much influence. So when we tell them all this positive stuff, and it's great, we, it's hard because they have more of the other stuff in their face more than we're in their face.
Yeah.
That's the main struggle, and they tell us that they keep it real. They don't know we get it, we learn all this and that, but what we seeing is a whole lot of this.
Yeah.
We can try to make things look cool, and we do. I mean, we do a great job of, or we do our best
Yeah.
with our influencing them with the positive things, but we know that it's not always going to look as cool
Yeah.
as other things. At the end
But
of the day, we know we some old guys to them,
yeah.
and when they look on the internet and they see their favorite rapper or this and that, and they're making something else, something the complete opposite of what we told them,
Right.
making it look way cooler than us, and
Yeah.
that's the struggle.
But doing your best, I mean, it's important because of the fact that now they have something to look up to. They have something to look forward to. If you weren't in that picture, what are they having to look forward to? I mean, it's just another day to them. So
Right,
now instead of it being 4 days, now they got 6, 7 days.
right.
It just, I think it's very important. Respect on that as well.
Appreciate it.
They say see something, say something. They also say snitches get stitches. Is snitching ever okay? And if so, when?
That's exactly one of the struggles that you just mentioned.
Uh-huh.
They mentioned that as well because we want to. You say see something, say something, but
Yeah.
they keep on hearing. If I say something, I'm a rat.
Yeah.
I'm this, or I'm going to get killed because I did this. So that it's the complete opposite of what we tell them to stand up for. We tell them to stand up for your people.
Yeah.
Speak up. Don't let none. In my children's book,
Uh-huh.
one of the pages is a young boy speaking up because his friends were being bullies to a young girl,
Yeah.
and he stood up to the girl and say, "Yo, no, we don't do that to girls. We're gentle with girls. We don't do that." And he's
Yeah.
speaking, he's standing up for her. And what they usually see is that's called snitching, or that's
Yeah.
called doing this, doing that. So it's tough. But that's one of those situations where it's got to be true to yourself, and if you're going to be a man, that's part of being a man is speaking up, no matter what you're viewed as.
Yeah.
They might look at you as a snitch or whatnot, but sometimes you got to choose to do what's right
Yeah. I think it's very important.
carefully, because unfortunately, the word snitches get stitches. I think it's ridiculous, but unfortunately, there are a lot of people who face consequences for just doing that action,
Uh-huh.
standing up. There's a lot of people who stood up and did the right thing and hurt them. So it's one of those situations. It could be a situational type of thing because it is tricky. But at the end of the day, part of being a man is standing up, being a stand-up guy, speaking up,
Mm-hmm.
and got to do that to the best of your ability.
And I think the other piece of that is teaching your kids not to even be in situations or
Exactly.
hanging with
Yeah.
people where you might have to snitch.
Yeah.
I don't hang out with the type of people
Yeah.
who something's gonna go down and I'm gonna have to snitch. I don't hang with people who do the wrong thing. If you out here stealing, you out here robbing people, that's not my scene. And so I think if you are raising children of good character, it's important for them to be able to have friends that have the same mind. And we know that kids will try something.
Yeah.
But if anything, when our kids interact with a young lady or a young man that's doing the wrong thing,
Uh-huh.
steer clear. That person is probably not somebody you want to be friends with because you don't want to be in a situation where you're the one who always has to speak up.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say steer clear of them.
And one of our keywords in our program, we have a lot of keywords, like keywords that you can hear every Saturday, is accountability.
Mhm.
And when it comes to brotherhood, manhood, whether with your friends or just men around your area, that's a form of accountability, holding
Right.
your brothers accountable. And if you see they're doing something wrong, you got to keep your brother accountable and speak up about it.
Yeah.
That's a part of manhood, keeping yourself accountable and keeping your brothers accountable.
I teach that to my boys all the time. They got to be
Oh yeah,
accountable for their brothers, and they also got to be accountable for themselves.
oh, yeah.
And they do something wrong, they need to own up to their mistakes and man up and say, you know what, like I did this, and I understand there might be repercussions, but I put myself in those situations.
Just imagine all the bad influences. The guys who have all the influence of the young people. Just imagine if a lot of brothers who have the right mind frame start keeping those brothers accountable, speaking out like, nah, this ain't how we do this. We don't use that word. And just a mighty, mighty group of brothers always on these guys' necks, keeping them
Yeah.
accountable, putting that pressure on them. It will start to cease. It will start to die down.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be kept accountable for when they do something wrong. But one of the problem is we're doing so much negative because they're not being held accountable. These rappers,
Yeah.
they're doing a lot of this because who's keeping them accountable?
Yeah.
They're getting the opposite. They're getting rewarded for it. They're not being held accountable. They're getting paychecks for it. So of course,
Yeah.
but we just need more brothers to have the mentality to keep each other accountable.
When everything is said and done, what do you want your guys' name? What do you want your legacy to be remembered as
As an individual,
as a unit?
as you because like as an individual, I'm brother Anthony.
Uh-huh.
I've done what I do, but I think one of my most valuable roles is a husband with my wife.
Uh-huh.
I'm brother Anthony. That's Britt, but together with the Glovers.
Yeah.
That's the legacy.
Yeah.
And I just want to be remembered as it was these two people who made each other better.
Yes.
A lot of what I do, a lot of what I get credit for, you guys giving me level for doing this and doing that. Like I said, I dunked it, but somebody gave me the alley oop, which was my wife, my teammate, my co-pilot. So I want to be looked at as the pair, the Glovers. That's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that we were a Black family in our city that truly loved each other. We loved our kids and we love our people. And that, it's my goal one day we can both be looked at as a community uncle, a community auntie. People might need, relationship advice, or maybe they need a little bit of money to start that business they want to start, or we might be able to provide scholarships or whatever the case.
Uh-huh.
I want them to know that not only did we love each other, but we loved our city,
Yeah.
we loved our community. And, my legacy, I hope my personal legacy would be that my kids remember me as a loving mother who was there, who supported them, who listened, who apologized, because sometimes as parents we mess up.
Right.
And that my husband will always see me as his greatest support system, his loudest cheerleader,
Yeah.
to know that I'm always going to have his back no matter what. And I'm extremely grateful that he chose me to be his wife. And so, yeah, that's our legacy. Let's just grow old together.
And I have to put out, he spoke really highly of you last week. I thought it was beautiful because a lot of times guys kind of just, shy away from it. He said you were the alley-oop. Sometimes you guys share the roles and stuff like that. So I thought it was very beautiful. I have to say it. So actually, I would love to hear your opinions on these situations. Brett Favre was caught in a Mississippi welfare scandal where it was taking $77 million of temporary assistance for needy families. Some of that money went to his daughter's school for the volleyball court. 5 out of 6 people have been arrested. Of course, he didn't, but that's another story for another day, I guess. I don't know. And also, Full House actress Lori Loughlin was in college in the entrance scam. My question to you both is, how far do you go for your kids? And at what point do you stop and say, you're going to have to figure this one out on your own?
So, hold on, I'm going to say this first. So remember, one of the values that I would love to leave with my kids is integrity.
Yes.
And so that's a really big thing that we teach in our household. There is no right way to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So using your connections, your money, your power, your influence, or anything like that to help your child get ahead,
Yeah.
I actually think it's doing a disservice. Now their kids are embarrassed. They're absolutely humiliated, and they're watching their parents pay the consequences of making that bad decision. They both are wealthy enough to have just paid for their children.
Right. Yeah.
You didn't have to do this.
Yeah.
So I think that the bigger consequence is they're now going to have to deal with their children who are growing up and seeing that their parents have poor character.
Yeah.
And they're more likely to go out and emulate those same things. So I'm not willing to, my kids know.
Yeah.
You go to jail, I'm not coming to visit you at no jail.
Yeah.
I'm not sending you no boxes. We're not putting no money on the phone. We didn't raise you like that. We didn't raise you to be bad people or to steal or to kill. We raised you to be young women of integrity. So if you choose to go off that path, yes, we will always love you, but we are not going to support your dysfunction, especially when we know and expect better from you and we know that you've been taught better. So I think as kids, all kids are going to try a little bit of something. You got to have some grace there. But I'm talking about when they get into adulthood, you're going to have to stand 10 toes down on those decisions. So just make sure you're making good decisions because mommy and daddy are not coming to bail you out.
Yeah. And one of our key words, another key word of ours is integrity. It's also in the book. That's one of my favorite words.
Yeah.
Doing the right thing when no one is looking.
Yeah.
And Brett Favre was actually doing that, thinking that nobody's going to find out. Even the text message, he was asking, hey, nobody's going to find out about it, right? Integrity is doing the right thing, even when you think nobody's even watching.
Yeah.
And for when it comes to my kids or whatnot, and what I would do, to put my kids in a better position, If I have to compromise my integrity, then I'm doing something wrong. And if my kids find out that I compromise my integrity to do something to further ahead, then they're gonna look at that and be like, all right, it's not the best thing, but if nobody finds out, it's all right. I don't want my children thinking that they can compromise their integrity just because nobody's watching to doing something wrong, just because it's gonna put them in a better position. So I would say if I have to compromise who I am as a man, it's no good.
Yeah. And this one's a tough one. This happened in New Jersey, but I feel like this happens kind of all over. A 15-year-old girl hangs herself after being repeatedly molested by her mother's boyfriend. Mother's boyfriend. She warns mother, but the girl's mother says she is just jealous and is just upset that the boyfriend is not the girl's real father. Criminal charges were dropped since she was the only source of evidence, and now she was dead. They couldn't create a case. Um, what do we need to do to protect our kids in these situations? And why is it that these predators are it's almost like they're protected?
Well, and it is my hope to not sound offensive or too critical,
Uh-huh.
but I think that we need to be incredibly thoughtful about who we choose to have children with.
Yeah.
Because a big problem in our country is people don't think having kids with somebody is a big deal. You have a kid and then you go on about your way.
Right.
I think that if we focus on building more families, having children with the man that you intend to be with,
Yeah.
staying married to that man
Yeah.
as long as possible, that actually will deter predators from even having an opportunity to come in. So I would say being thoughtful from the beginning and making sure that you are not procreating with somebody that you intend to leave.
Yeah.
And yes, it's understandable. Some people get divorced. Sometimes things happen in life, but a overwhelming majority of these situations, I feel, could be cut in half if we just stayed with the father of our kids.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the biggest thing. We need to really focus on getting those marriages, those partnerships solidified before we bring kids into the picture.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I think you could do to cut down on it.
I think we need harsher penalties towards these predators as well. Drug abusers and petty crimes, they get harsher punishment. It doesn't make no sense to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Harsher, because this has been going on for a long, long time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It happens all over.
Aunties and great aunties who went through the same situation that young girl in New Jersey went through.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's in your own family. Somebody could also, victimize you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that 100%. It's not the intention to make it sound like I'm being critical, because sometimes things just happen.
Yeah.
But we can start by preventing it in the first place.
Yeah.
If I stay with my husband, I don't have to worry about another man coming in and violating my kids.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? If for some reason me and my husband ended up going our separate ways, I've made peace with staying single till my kids are grown.
I said the same thing.
That's just going to be what it is.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to deal with bringing another man into my situation that I have to watch and hoover over and hope that they're not victimizing my child.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And another that happens all over, like North Carolina, Wisconsin, and even here in Arizona. But for this one specifically was in Rochester, New York. A teacher in New York was having students pick cotton as a lesson on slavery. From a parent stance, what is the first action we need to do? And how do we possibly teach our children that this is not okay? It's a stupid kind of question, because we should already know that this is not okay. But at what point, I'm I guess more frustrated because of the fact that initial teacher probably told another teacher, and that other teacher was like, "Oh, this is a good idea." And it's like, at what frame in mind is this okay? Like, why are we having to teach teachers what to teach? Like, does that make sense?
You have to be involved with your kids too. And one thing I could definitely say about my husband, he's the type, he's pulling up to the school. I want to know what you're studying, what y'all got going on. So that's why it's important to have those relationships and kind of pay attention to what the curriculum is, what your kids are studying, and not just leaving them to their own devices.
Yeah.
Attending those parent-teacher conferences and getting clarity.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most important thing you can do. Show up to those PTA meetings and figure out what it is that they intend to do.
Yeah, I mean, you got my kid picking cotton at school. I mean, I'm just gonna keep it real, man. It has to be some intense talking going on. It's going to be something because you have to make
discussion.
Well, you have to make a statement. I mean, well, really, what I'm saying is make a statement.
But something has to give. I mean, this is not just the first time. It even
Right.
happened here in Arizona. It's happening all over.
Because nothing powerful enough has happened
Right.
with this yet.
Yeah.
They haven't seen the teacher who has done that hasn't seen any crazy consequences yet. So they're not aware. The ignorance is still there because they don't know. They don't. It's something extreme. There has to be some extreme consequences. I'm just gonna keep it real.
Man, I remember in elementary school they actually took us out. I remember them taking us out to a cotton field. They didn't specifically take like black children. The whole class went.
Right.
But even having that experience and being out there, I was out there and I was just like, this ain't right. Like, why? We just got done learning about this, and now you got me out here. Like,
and how long ago was that?
I was in elementary, so and
that was how long ago?
I want to say like early 90s.
And this is literally happening still to this day.
See, so my concern would be, what was the lesson? What was the intention of the lesson? My parents have taken me to a field and made me pick some cotton in that hot sun so that I could have the appreciation for what my ancestors did. So I could look at my finger and say, look at all these pricks. It gave me a deeper understanding of the sacrifices that were made for me to be able to sit in a classroom. So first of all, I would want to know, sometimes we make mistakes. Things don't come off the way that we intended. But was the intention to victimize the child?
No, this is just straight racism. This is just straight.
Now, if we're taking all the black kids to the field,
that's exactly what happened, and that's exactly what happened in every situation was different.
In my situation, I think it was more. It probably under the lines, it might have been like that. But I think what they were trying to play us as is like, oh well, it's fall season. This is when it would happen. We're gonna take you guys out to the pumpkin patch, and there'd be cotton. You can pick some cotton. They tried to make it seem non-confrontational or non-racial, but
it's just a good old ignorance.
Yeah,
because some of them actually do. Some of them actually believe they're doing something educational. They really believe it. Mm-hmm. Like they really, really believe. It's just good old ignorance, man.
Yeah.
Even if they got a good
and what's
heart,
messed up about it too is like I didn't learn anything from it, but I'll be 39 this year, and I still vividly remember
how it made you feel.
How that made me feel and being out there.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a non-black teacher who is doing this and attempting to teach that
every
lesson.
single time it has been.
And see, that's where it gets complicated.
It's triggering. All you're doing is reminding them of a black trauma.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. They're not learning anything out of it. So, like I said, it has to be something intense. A lot of powerful people got to show up, pull up.
Yeah.
Not just a mom and dad. That has to be something where, people gonna have to pull up and make a crazy statement, powerful statement.
Yeah.
And then let that be known.
More like a community situation, not necessarily a parent situation.
Yeah, right. Right, yeah. What I mean. Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna know. Oh.
It is now time where this and every show we give out a random hack, fun fact, or message and joke. Today's hack or tip is if you want your little one to learn to put the right shoes on the right foot, simply cut a sticker in half and put it in their shoe as if they're trying to put the sticker together. And the joke, what's a grandma's favorite fruit?
Is cranberries or something as a fruit?
Cranberries is good.
I mean, you're close.
Because that sounds like that.
You're close. No? No.
Cranberries. I think that's pretty good.
Well, actually, I've never.
That should be the answer. I don't know what the answer, but that should be.
I mean, I've never heard of cranberries, so I'll look into it.
Am I making that up? Or is
Granny apples?
There you go. You actually got it right.
Granny apples.
Granny Smith apples.
Yes.
Ah.
The other one it could have been was elderberry.
That's what I was actually thinking about.
Okay.
I don't know why I got cranberry. It was elderberry.
Yes. You just completely made cranberries.
Elderberry, cranberries.
And the message for today will actually be spoken words from this gentleman right here. You're all in for a treat today. So whenever you're ready.
All right. Well, earlier you asked me how I would like to be remembered, and I said a lot of this and a lot of that, but the main thing I would like to be remembered, I would like to be remembered as a revolutionary soldier.
Okay.
Using my words and actions as weapons of mass progression, and I'm in the front line in a war that's been going on for so long in which the enemy is black oppression. Are you a soldier like me? You can't be a black empowerment is not your obsession because I live for that black fish raised high in the air. I've been putting in so much work in my city that one day I'm going to become a target, but I've reached a point of passion where I no longer care. See, I told you I'm a soldier. My people use my heart as a generator. Past, current, and future generations plug into me to generate change within this wicked nation. But I'm not a God. See, I don't want to mislead you to believe that I am your salvation. I'm just another positive black man striving to achieve progressive manifestation. Until then, I will not quit. Ain't no pit stops or in the missions during this revolutionary mission. There'll be no rest until I see fruition amongst the great Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X's vision, because like them, I'm a soldier in the front line in a war, in which all my brothers and sisters listening need to be enlisting in where my soldiers at. Thank you.
Oh man, I'm gonna give it that a round of applause. That was good. I appreciate it. Told you guys were in for a treat.
I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, you need to get back into it because that was good.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes. And as we wrap up this show, I want to give a huge shout out to today's guest, Brother Anthony. Where can they follow you at?
Brother Anthony, as all pretty much that's my name on every platform. Instagram, Facebook, it's just Brother Anthony. Brother with an A. No brother with no ER. Brother with an A. Brother Anthony, Facebook, Instagram.
And what sites do you have? Like what
www.usefulhandsphx.com.
Okay.
I can't wait to be a man.com.
Yes.
That's for my book.
Okay.
And but my main one will be Facebook. I'm an old guy, so I'm a Facebook guy.
Nice. And let me see, and Bree Glow.
Bree Glow.
Yes. Where can they follow you at?
You can follow me on Facebook at Bree Glow, BRIGLO, or you can also follow me on other platforms under Britt Glover PHX. And if you want to see more about what we're doing in the community, I also have a cute little clothing store where I sell different types of jewelry and shirts for Arizona centered women. You can follow us at www.sistasseekingphx.com or find out about the community service initiatives that we have going at www.allyprojectphx.com.
Nice. Do you actually have a location here in Arizona that they can stop into?
No, we do not have a physical location. We are online only, but the fastest shipping in the city.
Nice.
That's what I'm known for. You put your order in on Monday, I'm putting it in the bag on Monday and sending it to you.
Nice. I appreciate it. Can I actually just see your book real quick? I just want to be able to just hold it up so people can actually see it. And where can they purchase this book at?
I can't wait to be a man.com. It's the title of the book without the exclamation mark.
Okay.
And so I can't wait to be a man.com.
Appreciate it. And anything else you guys want to plug?
I'm Brother Anthony Nesbree, but together we are the Glovers, and we're just a couple out here trying to do the best we can with showing love to our community, and we want to encourage everybody else to do the same, and just spread love.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I love this one because this one was a good one.
And actually, man, I want to give you props. The whole theme and concept of this podcast is amazing. I've never seen it before. It's unique.
Yeah.
You promote fatherhood. I'm very, very passionate about my fatherhood. So I would like to be back on the show.
I'll have you back if you want to come back on.
And I really want to salute you and your comrades, man, because what you guys are doing is amazing. You guys are superheroes, giving us a stage and a mic to spread our message. We need you guys. So we want to thank you guys. You guys are superheroes.
Elijah told me
we're
about
just
this.
the Daily Bugle.
Elijah told me about this podcast. He wanted me to come co-host on his show, which is Wealth for Generations Lee, Sundays at what time?
11 a.m., sir.
On what day?
On Sundays.
Yeah. So he told me about, the studio did welcome me with open arms. And literally ever since then, I'm just like, I've been, destined to try to get, bring the awareness, the understanding and just be able to, have a good conversation and be able to,
You're doing great at it, man. Keep it up.
I appreciate
it. Marriage is dope. It's the most amazing thing that has ever happened to my life. So much of who I am is because I was blessed with this wonderful man that I needed.
Yeah.
More than I could have ever wanted. He is the man that I needed. So if there's anybody out there who's kind of on the fence about marriage to the right person is dope. It can transform your life. And we got to bring that back and start promoting more healthy examples that it's not all doom and gloom. It could really be that thing that changes things for you. So we just want to always encourage people to just be open.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly because the fact that so many people out there are trying to glamorize like, oh, I love being single life. It's like,
it's hard out here alone. And we're going to be in a recession. This country is not set up for singles. It is set up for couples. And so not only financially, you're going to need somebody to go through those difficult challenges of life with. And so we always want to promote the healthy side of marriage because, the media gives us all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
But we just want to say that sometimes you could just be normal, regular folks, taking care of your kids, loving each other, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. I love my wife of 13 years now.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So it's been a minute.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We're going on 5.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's a roller coaster, but it's a beautiful thing after everything's said and done,
Yeah.
And as always, Mr. Habari Live himself, Mr. Dip. Please like and follow Habari Live podcast Habari Entertainment, and check out other shows on there like Habari Live, Socially Awkward and Uncomfortable, and Wealth for Generations. Please also check out One Love on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Stay safe out there, stay hydrated, make it a great day, and we're out.